to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're on to item E, report of board action taken in closed session, and I have nothing to report. So we'll go on to item F, approval of the agenda. Would someone like to move approval?
I move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Okay, that passes. Okay, item G, recognition of retiring board member.
Well, that's me. So who are we going to talk about tonight? So actually, I'd like to start this evening by recognizing and thanking Dora for her outstanding contribution to the district and the community. And this includes not only being a board member for 8 years, but being board president for 4 years, which somehow should give you a special place in heaven for doing all of that during this time. Dora was elected to the Board of Education in 2003, but long before that, she served the community and our schools in a variety of roles, whether it was volunteering with PTA, booster clubs, bond and parcel tax campaign committees, and you probably had thousands and thousands of hours under your wings with all of that. Dora's been there. She's a great example of what makes the district and community so strong. She was willing to volunteer her time in almost any capacity as long as it helped make the schools and community a better place for everyone. And that includes all of her recent work with the successful passage of Major RAM. There have been so many great accomplishments in terms of student achievement and programs during Dora's tenure on the board, and this is even more impressive when you consider the fact that this was taking place in the midst of a state budget meltdown. You were always proud of the district's success record, but along with your colleagues kept asking, how can we enhance what we offer our students? And I know you're especially proud of all sorts of programs, but whether it was with the College Career Center, STEM, scientific research, Live from 205, you were a promoter for all of those programs. Also, I think it's always important in these situations to thank the family that basically gave their spouse, thanking one, your son, your daughter, for allowing you to share your time with us. Public service usually means sacrificing time with work and family, and over the last 8 years, you have given us a lot of time. I know you'll continue to be involved in the community and school programs, so I look forward to working with you in the future. And I thought, I'm starting the recognition, but there are other people here. I thought we never go without giving somebody the bird as they're leaving me.
Oh, that's right. I get my...
By the way, it's in recognition of outstanding service to children, Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District, Dora De La Rosa, and Board of Education member 2003 to 2011.
Oh.
So,
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
and I also, I'll always say the Honorable Bonnie Lowenthal's here, our Assembly member who has a joint resolution, I believe, signed by both her and Senator Rod Wright. Right up here or the podium where the mic works, if that.
Very impressive.
Well, Dora, you are a very impressive school board member. And, you know, I'm not going to repeat all the things Mr. Walker said that you've accomplished over these last 8 years. I can say that as a 3-year member of the State Assembly, you were there the minute I got elected, actually before I got elected, and made sure I understood everything there was to know about this school district and where the help was needed. So you have been a champion, and I really appreciate the education you gave me as a new Assembly member so that I could support this school district. You are really going to be missed, obviously, by kids, by your colleagues, by us in Sacramento. I'm sorry Senator Wright isn't here to share this moment with me, but this is the beginning of we don't know what. I expect I will see you in the future, and you're going to use this experience to build more and a better California in everything that you do, as you've done in the past. So I just want to thank you for the work that you've done here, for the support you've given us at the state level, and wish you all the luck in the world, and I'm going to skip all the whereases. So thank you, Dora.
Do you want to get a picture with Bonnie while she's here? Who's that? Bonnie, do you want to get a picture with Bonnie and Dora? And they're done? Yeah.
They got somebody with.
Who is that?
We will take a break.
We're going to take a break right now.
Well,
after we're
we've got
done.
a couple of other things.
Yeah.
I think they're going to leave. Are they gonna-
No, they're going to stay.
Like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, okay, could I say a few words?
Sure.
Oh, Actually, I was going to add one, and I don't see her here. Rebecca Kim from Supervisor Kanabe's office was also going to come, but if some reason she got lost, and we will make sure you get the plaque, but the supervisor also wanted to recognize you for your, okay.
Thank you. Go, please.
Okay. Some people run for school board for the title. Some people run for school board. They're leaving. Bonnie, are you leaving now?
Can you
Can
stay
we
for a
say,
picture?
can we take a recess?
Why don't we take a recess?
Take
and
Can
then-
we take
picture
a
real quick.
I
short,
wanted to take a picture with you, Bonnie, with the board.
so we're going to take a short recess, like 3-minute recess while we take a picture? Okay?
Then we'll continue
Then we'll
to-
continue.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
You want all of us?
All, how do you want to do this?
We're reconvening. Okay. I get to start all over again.
Let's start all over again.
Okay. Okay, so I get to start all over again.
Okay, let's reconvene.
Okay. Some people run for school board for the title. Some people run for school board for the attention they get. Some people run for school board because they like the ceremonial aspects of the job. But some run for school board because they truly want to make this district a better place. Dora De La Rosa is one of those few truly altruistic individuals who has made this school district a far better place because of her time here. Dora has done more than any other school board member in the last 14 years to help ensure the financial stability of this district. And she's done it in 2 different ways. Number 1, she has been the central force behind each and every bond election starting in the year 2000. That was before she was ever elected to the school board. Because of her efforts, 58 new permanent classrooms have been built to replace those deteriorating, disgusting portables, and 490 classrooms have been modernized in order to provide safe and modern facilities for current and future generations of Palos Verdes students. In addition, she has also been the central force behind each and every parcel tax election since 2003, including our most recent successful parcel tax election just last Tuesday. And as the state continues to cut our funding, these parcel tax elections have brought stabilizing local funds into our district schools to the benefit of every student, every teacher, and every classified employee in this district. Known for her tremendous organizational skills, Dora has been the backbone and the go-to person behind each and every parcel tax and bond election in recent memory. But because she is not a person who feels the need to share the spotlight on herself, let me just share some of her other accomplishments. Number 1, she graduated from UC Berkeley, or Cal, as she loves to call it. She's also a lawyer, graduated from Bolt Hall. She's received the PTA Council Honorary Service Award, the PTA Continuing Service Award from Ridgecrest Intermediate, and the PTA Honorary Service Award from Soliato. As for community activities, she co-chaired our first bond election in 2000. She co-chaired our first parcel tax election in 2003. She's been council president of the Palos Verdes Peninsula Council of PTAs, and she's accompanied the PTA on those annual legislative trips to Sacramento. She's had other positions, such as the PTA legislative chair at Soliato. She's been the Soliato PTA president, the Ridgecrest Intermediate Booster Club president, the Peninsula High School PTSA president. She's been a trustee of the Peninsula Education Foundation. She's been on the Soleado School Site Council, the Ridgecrest Intermediate School Site Council, the Peninsula High Leadership Team, and she's also been on the Conference of Delegates for LA County Bar Association. As for CSBA, which is the California School Boards Association, she was a member of Delegate Assembly Region 24 for 2 terms. Lastly, of course, she's been on the school board for 8 years, and 4 of those 8 years she's been president. In fact, she's been president 2 years each time, which is truly unusual. And I have to tell you, it takes a strong constitution to be president for 2 years on the school board. So I just want to say thank you to Dora for sharing your time with us. Anyway.
Thank you, Barbara. Add this to the one Tony.
Actually, I think, I believe Rebecca Kim from Supervisor Kanabe's office is here to make a presentation also. Rebecca, if you can come to the podium and...
Sorry I'm so late. It was a bit of a hard time getting here. But I am so pleased to be here on behalf of Supervisor Don Knabe to recognize everything you've done on the board as president. And, you know, I think it's a testament to the education system, that Measure M, and everything that you guys work for, that Measure M passed, so congratulations on that. Congratulations to Board Member Larry Van den Bos, and he's not here, as well as Erin. I know that she said she was here. Hi, Erin. So congratulations. And I think as we move forward, I think we've got a sneak preview of what you can accomplish, and we look forward to a lot more in the future. And so we thank you for your dedication to committing yourself to ensuring that our students on the Hill have quality education and the highest standard of education. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dora, I just want to take the time to thank you. Over the past 2 years, on many occasions, I've asked for a lot of questions and the policies and the practices and the logic and why do we do this and how do we do it in the future, and every time you've obliged me. You've always taken that time. And above and beyond the long list of accomplishments that Barbara gave, I also know you've worked tirelessly the last 2 years to really add to that legacy. So I just want to thank you for your guidance and your collegiality and your friendship. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
This is kind of like that scene with Dorothy and the Tin Man. No, it was the Scarecrow. That's where she gets all verklempt. I'm Dorothy, by the way. Yeah, and she has the brains. This is tough because I you know, there's a relationship here, and we'll still talk. Our phone numbers are so 541-8006, and then I have something. Well, that's.
Oh, give it out now. You gave mine out.
Wait, could you repeat that?
And feel free to call in.
You can Google it. Come on, get out of here. Stuff like that. This is going to be a stream of consciousness, so put your tray tables in the upright. I don't write things down very well. I just take long walks. We go back to the Ed Foundation days. We go back to sessions in either our friend Tina Quinn's kitchen or our friend Aaron Lamont's kitchen, where we were trying to figure out how can we coordinate funding on the Hill. And what was that, 2002, 2003, and trying to figure things out. Long before you went on the board, and I was happy being the good humor man with the Ed Foundation. And then all this happened. And often these sometimes daily phone calls, just to get things, just to be able to be there as a friend. And we've assured one another that doesn't have to end.
No, that's right.
And we've promised. And that's where it's such a personal level with me, Dora, with you, and that of course one of your favorite champions is my wife, who is comforted by the fact that I spend time with real smart people like you. It's so bittersweet. And should I speak for the big guy here? I don't know what I would say for him. Other that we all don't always see eye to eye on things. I think we would all agree that it is an arranged marriage in some ways, as Barbara has pointed out, but
sometimes it takes.
But yeah, and the trust that is that it's so telling, the fact. I don't know whether we've done the research on if anyone spent half their time in their board tenure as president. The fact that you love baseball, I mean, that really puts it right here in my heart, So
Talk about Vince
I'm gonna try to get over the Notre Dame thing. It's homecoming this weekend. So that I could just ramble on, but you know that I do care so deeply for you and your family, and thank you, Juan, back there,
He snuck in.
for sneaking in and sharing Dora with us, and the rest of
My clan.
the clan back there, and thank you.
Thank you.
So Dora, this is actually your chance. Would you like to say something?
Well, gosh.
Lost for words. Right?
Yeah, well, I want to thank everyone, first of all. Thank you, Walker, for coordinating this. Jana, I know you had a big hand in this, too, and to my colleagues as well. Thank you to my family, first and foremost. This has been a great experience. This is hard. Jeez. I consider this the greatest professional experience I've had. There's no higher calling than doing what we do. It can be pretty thankless. Usually is thankless, in fact. We have occasions where we have boardrooms full of, today we have nice, happy people, but we don't always have happy, nice people. We have people here sometimes who don't like us very much at the moment, but I think in general people are appreciative of what we do. And we've done some great things together. And what we've done that's made me most proud is that we've worked together from the ground up, and we've done things that have made huge differences in the lives of the students of this district and the families of this district and the community in general, because when we invest in our youth and in our future, we help us all. And passing this latest Measure M is just, that alone speaks volumes to the level of commitment that our community has made and continues to make in this district. And in this community, and it's a testament to everybody. And the fact that it's going to be a long-term source of stable local funding is just amazing and fabulous, and I thank you all for all your help. So, anyway, Thanks very much. It's been tremendous. Thank you. Thanks very much. Okay.
You want to do any pictures or anything?
Yeah, oh, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to go on and to the rest of our meeting. So I'm just saying that for the people in the back there who came just for this. You don't have to stay anymore.
There's
if you
your
don't.
hand.
Yeah. Barbara just reminded me, in lieu of a board president report, we did this recognition, but we should probably take a moment and just say what we've all been referring to, which is that our Measure M was on the ballot on Tuesday, and it combined the two existing parcel taxes that we currently have into one for the same amount, but continues on as a source of local stable funding. And that passed on Tuesday. It requires a 2/3 threshold to pass, and we're at 68.5.
0.5.
But it's a huge accomplishment. Malcolm, maybe you sent an email today about how many measures were on the ballot. Do you recall?
There were 7 in all.
7 parcel taxes.
And 5 passed. There was, 5 were they new or, I know one renewal didn't pass, and then the new taxes.
Across the state.
That whole state.
Across the state.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And, yeah.
we're in rare company.
Oh, yeah.
And because they were pretty worn out, we're going to recognize the campaign group on December 8th. They thought they would take advantage of the 3-day weekend, and they've been working a lot of hours, so they'll be here on December, so we can recognize them for their work and effort.
But I think we ought to take the time. First of all, we need to thank the community for supporting the school district, because the fact that we were able to pass Measure M in this economy is a huge show of support from the community. I mean, the community didn't support these schools, that measure wouldn't have passed. So, number one, thank you to the community for going out and voting. Thank you, every one of you who voted yes. But I also think we need, whether they're here or not, I think we need to recognize the committee members who were involved.
Oh, good. You just happened to have
list? I just happened to have it with me.
You just happened to have it with you. So this is the group of people who coordinated both the organizational part of it and the fundraising part of it, because we always get questions about this. Oh, who's paying for all those door hangers, or who's paying? That's $125,000 that was raised privately to run that campaign.
Not
No.
a penny of public
Right.
funds went into that.
Right. So I'm going to read the names of the people who served on those committees. Jana Beck, Sherry Cicchetti, Pearlie Zuka, Todd Mursky, Tom O'Hearn, Tina Quinn, Bill Ruth, Kim Rutledge, Malcolm Sharp, Julie Trell, Walker Williams, Nick Yacobucci, Stacy Sullivan, Janice Tessimer, Donna Coogan-Siegel, Anna Levin, Aaron Lamont, Dave Wagman, Kate Koch, Jeanette Weber, Priscilla Adler, Megan Westcott, Pam Secor, and me. Oh, well, good.
I mean, we need
Barbara, you did a good
we
job.
need to thank everybody, because this was a whole-out, tremendous effort.
And on the, for the Get Out the Vote effort, we had the following precinct captains: Jill Shoemaker, Kathy Compton, Teresa Nagy, Julia Rico, Beth Meyerhoff, Jen Kelly, Karen Bird, Aaron Lamont, Anna Levin, Jana Beck, Pam Secor, Malcolm Sharp. And we also had precinct coordinators: Sherry Cicchetti, Donna Coogan-Siegel, Priscilla Adler, Kim Rutledge, Sherry Cicchetti again, Donna Coogan-Siegel, Priscilla Adler, Julie Trell, Kim Rutledge, and that was it. And it was a huge effort for 3 months,
Intense.
and particularly the last weekend, but it all paid off. So thank you to everybody.
And again, thank you to the community for doing this for the children.
Okay, so let's move on to item H, which is approval of the minutes. And we have the minutes of the regular meeting for October 27th. Would someone like to move approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that carries. Moving on to item I, report of the superintendent. Walker.
Sure, before I get into the grant presentation, I think it was mentioned, I also just to recognize the election on Tuesday, that Larry Vandenbos was reelected to his seat, and so we will congratulate Larry when he gets back from his trip to Sacramento, and Aaron Lamont will be joining us on December 8th, and that will be when we give the oath of office to both of them. So just congratulations to those two, and they're a month away from, I guess, the big meeting. So with that, also, Susan, grant presentation, the Penny Royal Players.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. And good evening. We're happy to welcome the Penny Royal Players, some of the performers in our audience that are just an outstanding local group of artists who perform throughout the community and at some of our schools, some original musicals. And tonight, they're here to make a very generous donation from their proceeds to the school district. So I'd like to invite our own dear Ann Aaronclough up to the podium to make the presentation. Ann?
In case you haven't seen us, there are really 5 of us, but 3 of us are here tonight. Ann Destabel had to leave, and the other one couldn't come. A couple of years ago, we gave $5,000 to the elementary music program, and all the money we make from our performances goes to charity. We've contributed to the Costume Closet, to Warner Grand Theater, Little Fish Theater, AAUW, choral scholarships through Los Cancioneros. It's over $35,000 that we've raised in just our performances. But tonight we're very happy to give $2,000 to the elementary music program, with $200 to be going to each elementary school for materials or replacement of things like mallets that get lost or broken. So each school lead teacher will get $200, and then our own Liz Cantine teaches. If you haven't seen her adaptive PE dance class, you have missed something. And so we're giving $1,000 to Penn High's adaptive PE so they can continue the adaptive PE class. And she has 2 programs coming up, so I'm sure you'll all hear about it. If you haven't been there, it's heartwarming. So, do any of my colleagues have something to say?
I was just going to say Costume Closet, we've also given to, which is right here.
Yeah, I said, yeah. So, Susan, here's our checks, and you have the form?
I do. We'll process it. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The second presentation, actually, Shirley, Jody, if you want to join us, is on the changes in the transitional, or what we're calling the transitional kindergarten program, a change in the state law. Actually, we've been ahead of the ball game for many years with our developmental kindergarten program, but we thought Jody, Shirley, and Susan can kind of bring you up to date, because believe it or not, we will be in the holidays soon. As soon as we roll out of the holidays, we're into kindergarten roundup, and we need to be able to explain this to the board and be able to explain what we'll be going out to the public with. So I don't know who's taking the lead. Susan?
Oh, I will. Basically, we're pulling up the PowerPoint from that computer, and so happy that Jody Pastel, our Director of Curriculum and Principal at Cornerstone, and Shirley Resich, our Director of Pupil Services and Principal at Valmonte, have been attending the State Department of Education's meetings on transitional kindergarten. So tonight we're going to give you an update on the new state program and how it fits into Palos Verdes. So, here it comes.
I want you to notice the cute paper. That's for the young ones in the audience, you know. Put you in the mood, right?
We're all young at heart, Joe.
We are, aren't we? We are really excited to be here and to talk about transitional kindergarten. We have some work in front of us because we've called transitional kindergarten DK in our district for so many years. You need to really understand that transitional kindergarten isn't too much different than DK. We've just been ahead of the curve, and now the state of California is in a way catching up with us. So kind of keep that in mind as we go through. So what is right now? California has been one of 4 states where the current legislation makes the cutoff date for kindergarten December 2nd. So that means that our children entering school are very young. And across the country, everybody else entering kindergarten is much older. When you think about that, the playing field for test scores and comparing what states are doing better, there really hasn't been that equal comparison because our kids are coming into school at a much younger age. So now we're going to level that out a little bit with the state's help. The new Senate bill, SB 1381, changes the enrollment dates for children entering kindergarten and first grade in California. And this begins as early as next school year. So we have quite a lot of work ahead of us, but we are ready. And we will make sure that everyone is well informed, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the presentation. The ADA for transitional kindergarten is there. That's not a question. That's a requirement, so we're good there. What is transitional kindergarten? It is the first year of a 2-year kindergarten program. So those children that are eligible for TK will be in a 2-year program. Now, these are the kids who have birthdays, say, the December, that December cutoff, so we catch that group that aren't going to make it in this next year. Those are that's one group of kids that can go to TK. The other group that can go to TK are our existing developmental kindergarten children who need the gift of time. So you're not really required to enroll in TK because compulsory education does not begin till first grade. So none of that has changed, but we're offering a program the state is now offering a program for those children who do enter kindergarten and meet the cutoff date for that December 1. All right? Well, it'll be November 1 next year. So there also has to be a credentialed teacher in the TK classroom, and the class size and the instructional minutes match what our instructional minutes currently are for kindergarten. None of that has changed. So if a child is age appropriate for kindergarten but would benefit from the gift of time, the child may attend transitional kindergarten, just like we have our DK now. Many districts have not had a DK, so they are not really familiar with even offering this option. So we do feel like we are very much ahead of the game here. Currently, I wanted to go over the DK screening process. We're already calling it TK, but our current DK screening process is when a parent involves or enrolls involves their family in school and enrolls their child in school, they fill out a form. It's a universal screening. Every child enrolling in kindergarten fills this out, and it has some key questions like does your child share with others? Can your child sit on a rug for 5 minutes? Some of the basic questions. And the last question says, would you like your child screened for developmental kindergarten? So that's the universal screening. When answers are looked at on that screening, we then do the more discrete screening where those children who really benefit from the gift of time will take, it's called the LAP D screening, and that's given in our district in the month of March. I do the screening, and a retired teacher, kindergarten DK teacher, helps out with that. And then that's how we are determining those children who need the gift of time. There is a process. It's not just anybody who wants to be in that program or who says, well, my child's too young or my child's not mature. You do need to know, though, we do listen to preschool recommendations. We do listen to what parents say because we believe that parents truly know their children the best. So it's a good process to determine who our TK students are.
Jody, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
We've had developmental kindergarten in this district for many years, and I know you're very much involved with it. is TK basically a new name for DK, and we're doing everything just about the same as we used to do it?
That is an excellent summary. However, there are.
That's home now.
That's it. We're finished. That's
Finished.
No,
got
that
it.
is absolutely correct. However, there are some guidelines. There are some changes here that we need to be aware of. We're going to take full advantage of staff development and bringing in maybe a more defined reading program for these students. And it gives us a chance to kind of regroup, because our developmental kindergarten has always been pretty much based on the kindergarten curriculum, but much slower, maybe more in depth, maybe doing a skill 20 times instead of once. So a lot of it has really depended on the teacher's expertise and their ability to be creative with a certain concept, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Shirley.
So in front of you, you see the slide that gives you the information about how the legislation is going to be implemented. But the big picture is that by September 1st for the 2014-15 school year, we will be consistent with all the other states in the union where a child must be 5 by the time they enter kindergarten. But it's a gradual phase-in. So next year is the first year of that phase-in. So we're going to be capturing kids born in the month of November 1st through December 1st. Those children, through legislation, will have access to a 2-year kindergarten program, along with any other children in the district who continue to benefit from the gift of time. So that's basically what this slide talks about. As far as curriculum goes, the state is working on a developmental kindergarten curriculum. We have looked at some of the best practice programs that currently exist in California, and we're right up there with the best of them. We're using very specific programs like Handwriting Without Tears and Zoophonics. We have explored the preschool learning foundations. We've piloted the Desired Results Developmental Profile. We're familiar with the California Academic Content Standards, core state standards, and we're running a very developmentally appropriate program. Currently, we expect to tighten that up as the state provides more direction.
Just to add to that, everything that we have attended, we've been going to meetings and workshops, and we look at each other halfway through, and like Barbara said, we're doing this, we're there, so we need to look at the next step of being, futuristic, or how to make our program even better.
And so the next steps in this process will be to revise the current literature that we have consistent with the new terminology, transitional kindergarten. That's coming up pretty shortly because we start rolling out that information. And what's going to be challenging for us is really to inform the community about these changes, because it is confusing. And so preschools will be asking us, parents will be asking us, and we'll need to be informed and be able to present that information in a way that's meaningful. So we're planning to update the literature. We'll get that information out to preschools. Jody and Susan do a nice job of visiting preschools and informing parents. We'll hold information nights.
And the last piece, on February 6th and February 7th, we have 2 TK and kindergarten parent information nights. One will be at Vista Grande and one will be at Dapple Gray. And we invite all parents in our community who have incoming students to visit with all elementary principals, and we talk about kindergarten and we talk about TK, so that will be another opportunity to describe this new opportunity. But again, it's not mandated, but we are mandated to offer it. So,
Questions?
any questions for us?
Go ahead. Somebody.
The math of all of this, the enrollment impacts, the staffing impacts, are we going to have to put a class like this in more of our sites? No?
It's
Because
very-
if we're mandated and someone, help me out with the mandate
We're
part.
mandated to offer the 2-year kindergarten program. We're not mandated to offer it at every site. we're mandated to offer it for those children that need it and where the need is. So if a TK class can have 33 children in it, and we end up having 55 children come through saying that they want TK, then we would have 2 classes. It's based on need.
I don't numbers being any larger probably than the DK program we're currently
No.
running.
Actually, what happens with this program is that children who were previously eligible for kindergarten are now eligible for transitional kindergarten, but we're still educating exactly the same population. We're just giving access to those really young 4-year-olds to a 2-year program, which was already in existence in our program, in our district.
So will we expect kindergarten enrollment to decline?
No.
No, not
No.
really. Because we've already been there, I
Yeah.
think is a way to say it. We've already been enrolling these kids. It's coming back down a month, and it's not going to have a huge impact on us, we don't think. And we only offer the DK program for the numbers that need it.
Right.
So each year, we bring in a group, and sometimes we've had, well, this year we have...
It's about 120 that
Yeah.
end up qualifying for DK in the past. That's what it's been.
We would see a decrease in the kindergarten enrollment if we weren't providing transitional kindergarten, because those kids born between November 1st and December 2nd wouldn't be kindergarten eligible. But the state is saying, wait a minute, these kids previously were eligible, we better provide something for them. So they will be offered a 2-year program, transitional kindergarten. So we're still capturing those kids, but a 2-year program now instead of a 1-year.
But the kids who, you know, the parents determine, okay, we're not going to send them to kindergarten where we would have gotten them because
Well, then
they have a
They
November.
can stay in our excellent preschool program at Belmonte.
Okay.
Really has it all covered.
Yeah.
We have a place for everyone, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes, we do.
So our 3 to 5-year-old program is still in place and will be.
So is the term DK
Gone.
Are we,
We're-
do we
we're-
need to remove that from our vocabulary?
We're now officially transitional kindergarten, according to the state.
According to the state.
TK.
Do we have, and tell me again, do we still have 2 of those classes at Valmonte?
3.
We have a total of 6 right now. 3 at Belmonte, 1 at Soleado, 1 at Point Vicente, and 1 at Marilest.
Gotcha.
We anticipate that that'll probably stay pretty much the same.
That's geographically,
Yes, spread out.
And that has been a goal, to make it accessible to all of our families.
okay.
This might be just for information purposes question. So in our current DK program, how many DK graduates go on to first grade?
Maybe 1,
Very few.
Oh, interesting.
very few, because
So we're
the
already
reason-
offering a 2-year program, basically.
The reason why is because they are so appropriately placed when they're placed in I have to call it TK now, you know, because of the screening and the information we get from parents in preschool.
Good point. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sounds like you've got it all under control.
We
and
do.
You are prepared.
And that ends my report.
Okay, thank you, Walker. Okay, let's go on to item J, report of student board members. Let's see, who'd like to go first? Valerie?
Oh, yes. So Ms. Humphrey recently distributed the Student of the Month Awards and Perfect Attendance for the month of October. And the school rules are also being reinforced to the students that may have forgotten them since the beginning of the year. And there was also a Harbor College field trip that took place on October 26th, which a select few students got to go if they got permission slips signed by their parents. And they're also starting an architecture program available to high school students there, for those that are interested in it. There was also a El Camino College field trip on November 9th for students who wish to go and find out more about the school and the education it will provide them with. And since the quarter grades were coming in, students were required to have 2 academic classes and 1 elective class finished by the end of the quarter, and were updated by teachers on their progress in each individual class they were in.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Thank you. Vedika?
At Peninsula, well, first of all, we had Halloween and a record number of students dressed up, so we were really happy about that. It was very festive. And then the same week, we had homecoming, and the theme was Disney, which was really fun. The decorations were extremely original and involved. And the carnival, where all the clubs sold food and merchandise, was also really fun. We got rained on, so it got kind of chaotic. I was out selling for debate, and I got absolutely soaked. But it was still worth it. And at the dance was sold out, and people actually really got into it and dressed as characters from Disney movies. And so it was just a really exciting week. And then we also had our NHS National Honor Society induction ceremony. We have about 250 members in that prestigious honor society. And we also, at the induction ceremony, Mrs. Okamoto awarded thousands of dollars in scholarships to the senior class. So we were really proud of all of our students for their academic achievements. Speaking of students that we're proud of, Braden Benedict was honored just this past week by the County Board of Supervisors. He went with Mrs. Kress, and he actually got to speak there, and we're just wowed by his accomplishments, and so we're really excited for his successes. In sports, I'd rather not talk about the PV Pen game, but we have many sports going to CIF, cross country, tennis, and water polo, and I know that girls tennis won their game today, so we're very happy and we wish them the best. Better luck than our football team had. And in other clubs, both marching band and mock trial have been competing these past few weeks, and they're enjoying a lot of success. Debate also kicked off the year with outstanding results. Two of our juniors, Daniel Tartakovsky and Henry Zhang, they're just juniors, but they closed out the entire USC tournament, sharing first place. And there were also 2 out of the 14 debaters across the nation who were invited to the very exclusive Harvard tournament. Furthermore, 3 of the parliamentary debate teams closed out the league tournament 2 weeks ago, and there's another one this weekend, so we wish them the best of luck. And lastly, I just want to say that we're all so delighted and relieved that Measure M got passed, and we want to thank everyone who is involved in the effort.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to item K, public communications. And this is the section of the meeting where we will take public comment. The public will be given the opportunity to address the board at this time on topics not listed on the agenda. Remarks shall be limited to 3 minutes per person, and oral communication to a total of 15 minutes. The board cannot engage in public discussion during this portion of the agenda due to the Ralph M. Brown Act. So under this item, I have one card here from Eva Stamper. Would you like to come up to the podium, please?
Good evening. My name is Eva Stamper, and I'm a teacher. I'm a chemistry teacher at Palos Verdes High School. Over the past 2 months, several of my colleagues have addressed the board requesting that the current board policy prohibiting grade changes after June 30th be rescinded. I'm here tonight to ask once again that this happen immediately, as the policy is a detriment to our students, schools, and the communities in which they serve. The policy was created hastily and without the due diligence one would expect for such an important issue. We are now 1 week into the second quarter, more than halfway through the first semester of the school year. Our teachers and students are working diligently toward mastery of the state standards in their respective classes. If you truly care about student success and its impact on the community in which you serve, please rescind the current grade policy immediately and allow our students to demonstrate what they have learned and accomplished in our classrooms. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have an agenda item? Okay. We have one more speaker, Joseph Barnett.
Congratulations on the outcome of the election.
Thank you very much.
My name is Joe Barnett. I served on the city council in Palos Verdes Estates for 12 years, and 8 of those years were as mayor, and then 18 years on the planning commission. And during my public service, I realize that one of the greatest assets that this city has is the deed restrictions on every lot that's in Palos Verdes Estates. I attended a couple of the hearings at the court where Mr. Williams was presenting the request for deviation or canceling the deed restrictions on lots D and E. And I realized that the Homes Association spent over $300,000 in legal fees. I have no idea what the school district spent. But I'm here tonight to tell you that I fully believe still that the enforcement of the deed restrictions in Palos Verdes Estates is one of the greatest assets that the city has, and I'm willing to fight for it. If the school district decides to appeal the court decision, I, for one, and this is not a threat, it's just a statement, that I will lead a campaign to raise enough money to appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court if I have to. But I hope that the school board will not waste additional school funds to try to break the deed restrictions in this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the speaker cards, although I just wanted to see if we could make a correction. The last meeting, we had some speakers on the board policy with requiring the June 30 deadline, and this time we again had a speaker. And if you could just, both times it was alluded that the decision was made hastily, but I thought we could address and just state the facts with regard to the number of when this issue came up and how many times it was on and whether it was given a first and a second read, because there is some confusion. And last time we had speakers who made the similar kinds of assertions and they actually weren't correct. So could you correct that, please?
Excuse me, I know this is out of order, but in due respect, this is against the Brown Act. You're not supposed to be discussing this. This needs to be on the agenda.
I do believe you are out of order. We're not discussing any content, any substance. We're correcting.
Clarification, that's discussion.
Okay, well, you've stated your opinion.
I will sit
Thank
down,
you.
but
You've
you need to
stated your
follow the
opinion.
Brown Act.
Thank you. You've stated your opinion.
I stated the law, which you don't follow.
Bill.
Yes, I have just the dates. You'd like the meetings, when they were held and so on. So there was a special meeting on May 11th at 4:30 p.m. The notice of that meeting and the agenda for it was posted on May 6th at 3:30. The meeting was called to order at 4:30, and the Board Policy 5121 and Administrative Rule 5121 were, and in fact, discussed at that meeting, and those minutes have been posted. Board direction was given on that night for consensus to move the issue along to a policy meeting that would be held soon after. Now that meeting, that next policy meeting was held on June 27th. It was a special meeting at 8:30 p.m. Notice of that board meeting and agenda was properly posted on June 24th at 3:30. That meeting was called to order at 8:45, and it was there that there was discussion on Administrative Rule 5121, grades, evaluation of student achievement. The board reviewed a draft of language provided by Josh Morrison, an attorney for the district, and made some changes to that and approved the first reading then of those policies. The next meeting was on July 11th, a special meeting at 8:30 p.m. Notice of the meeting and agenda were properly posted on July 8th at 2:57. You know, I said p.m. I meant a.m. 3 board members were present, and that was the second meeting and the approval then of the final AR 5121 on grades, evaluation of student achievement. So there were 2 readings of the policy. One on June 27th and a final approval on July 11th. Is that what you wanted?
Yes, thank you. Looks like we have another card. Kathy Santa Rosa.
I just wanted to make a little clarification to why we have all these speakers and kind of what they're alluding to. When the grade change came up, there was a discussion in May at a general meeting, or I think closed session, Mitzi, and a regular meeting. Mitzi, the principal at Penn, was here, and Nick Stephanie was here, the principal at PV High.
Well, let's just clarify, because we want to get the facts straight. It actually was a special meeting, but it was not closed session. It was a public, open session meeting. It just was not on, it was
But
not
it was
televised.
in the evening, or was it in the morning?
4:30.
4:30.
4:30.
Okay, I
On
knew
May
there was
11th.
something
Kathy,
different
I
than the regular.
appreciate that you're standing up there, I really do, and I just want to make sure as we go along that we just have the facts
Okay, yeah, that's
stated
okay.
properly.
That's all right.
That's all.
So we request, the special meeting, when the board, let me go back. Okay, so we have this meeting at 4:30 in the afternoon. Mitzi Kress spoke and Nick Stephanie spoke with two totally different opinions on the subject of the grade bump and change. So
Actually, that's
Then
not
the board- well-
entirely correct either, because I believe there was agreement. See,
Okay, well, I listened to, I have the
Yeah,
taped
yeah.
recording of it.
Let's
so-
just let you finish
all
your
right,
comments.
So, let me just finish. Okay, so, after they had the discussion, the board gave direction to come up with some change. At the next meeting, the change was read, but there was no discussion. What we're questioning, or what we'd like to see done with this policy idea, no one actually went out and sought out data. How many schools do the bump? Do the colleges' admissions have any consideration about bump? Is there any negative impact on high schools that give bumps, that change grades after June 30th? And that's what we're questioning. The meetings were done in the summer. They were Monday morning meetings. Only 3 of the board members were there. The 3 board members were at the meetings, the first reading and the second reading. They were the same 3 that were doing the policy, and the other 2 weren't even there. The second reading, it was never read out loud. It was on a list, and they, these are the policies we're going to approve, and that was it, and it was done. It wasn't even read as an item. It was listed as a block. So there was no discussion or reading actually done of it. It was just kind of blocked together. So what we'd like you to do is rescind this policy, because the teachers' grades are owned by the teachers, and to tell them, especially we have other policies about 6 weeks, they can make it up, and this isn't going to fall in that realm after school ends. So what we'd like the board to do is rescind this policy of the grade change, a date that you cannot change your grade after. Then form a committee, as we've talked to Walker about at a meeting that we had with a lot of interested teachers, form a committee with the naysayers, the yay-sayers, principals, administrators, board members, everybody that really are the stakeholders in this, and look at solid data that comes from other schools, other school districts, colleges, the whole thing. Then, if you want to institute a grade change or make a policy on grade, I think once all the stakeholders are all listened to and can buy into a plan, I think it would be much better received by everybody. So that's my clarification of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, anything else? No, okay. All right, we'll go on to public comment on open session agenda items. And here again, the public is given an opportunity to address the board during each agenda item. And the remarks are limited to 3 minutes. So do we have any cards? Okay. So let's go on to discussion action. And the number L1 is adoption of resolution number 10, 2011-12, authorizing the execution and delivery of agreement to fund a guaranteed maximum sum and ratifying prior board authorization to execute and deliver a site lease, facilities lease and construction provisions, and other acts relating to the construction of the Palos Verdes High School Sea King Baseball Clubhouse project. Pearl, I got that all out.
Okay, we're going to take a few seconds here to get set up. So,
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to do this, and we'll have everyone come forward. Lindsay.
Welcome.
So we are here to talk about the Z King Baseball Clubhouse project, and before we get started, maybe we can introduce who everybody is here. So, Nick.
Nick Stephanie, Principal, PV High.
Lindsay Thorson, Attorney for the district.
Stuart Chose, Capital Campaign Committee.
Mark Capolino, Cap Brothers Construction.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to turn on the mic there. I don't know if it's on.
You see the green line.
There you go.
I'll just ask that if you're speaking, to please speak into the microphone so that we can pick it up on the tape. Thank you.
So we have a 2-hour presentation tonight. No, just kidding.
Scared us.
We have a very brief presentation that we would like to share with you tonight regarding this exciting project. So we're going to give an overview. Nick's going to give you an overview again of the project. And it's in phases, and he's going to discuss just in general what it is so we can kind of get a refresher as to what the project is. I'm going to just share briefly what the project costs are. And Lindsay's going to speak to everyone about what this delivery method is of lease back. It's a specialized way of delivering projects. And then Stuart's going to share and give an update as to the funding, how fundraising is going, and then asking finally for your approval for the lease back agreements. Okay, with that, we'll start with Nick.
Okay, the baseball clubhouse is a locker room, concession stand, and bathrooms near the tennis courts and the baseball field. And this kind of shows the location on the campus. The clubhouse, I think that the max height is about 10.6, I believe. And this kind of shows the elevation of it. It's a brick building, Mark, correct? Correct. Then this is the floor plan showing the boys' locker room, girls' locker room, 2 unisex bathrooms, a storage area, and a concession stand outside.
Again, this is again, we've presented this in the past. This has gone through the DSA. It has received approval from the Division of State Architects, so it's waiting to be constructed based on that.
Okay, phase 1 consisted mainly of improvements to the field. We took down the old backstop, put up new fencing, new netting, and also installed bleachers with stadium-style seating there. And phase 2 is the clubhouse portion as well as an honor wall.
This is the summary right now as to how we're expected the pricing or the cost for the project. So tonight, coming forward to you in your documents is showing that there's a guaranteed max sum for construction of $265,000, and Mark Capolino is the selected builder in this program, and he is willing and has agreed to construct it for this amount. As required by our capital campaign, there is a requirement of a contingency. In this case, it's 10% at $26,500. We've set aside $78,000 for the Division of State Architect inspections, testing that'll need to be done, and also have a construction management company oversee the work. Just to let you know, in terms of the DSA inspection, because it is brick, there's a little bit different and a more higher threshold requirement for testing. They'll need to be testing throughout the process of construction as they're building it. It's a little bit different with masonry work. And then there's an estimate of $20,000 for legal fees, which is a total about $390,000 for the project. And the idea that will be the numbers below the 265, if those numbers aren't actually, if they don't spend that, then those dollars would be refunded back to the capital campaign, and they understand that. But in order for the project to get started, these are the amounts at this point that we're saying that need to be ready and be deposited with the district before we can get started. Okay, and then Lindy's going to talk a little bit about this different way of delivery of method of construction with regards to lease back.
The lease back method is a method that's allowed under the education code that gives a different path than kind of your typical bidding for a lease back project. It's a method that a lot of districts use and is pretty well known now throughout the state. The way it works is that the district will lease the project area to the contractor through a site lease, and then the contractor will lease back the project as it's being constructed through the facilities lease, or the facility lease. And as they lease it, as you lease it back from the contractor, you'll be making payments to him, which would be equivalent to a progress payment if you were doing a typical bid construction project. One of the benefits for the district to this, as you mentioned, is the guaranteed maximum sum, which is specifically listed in the contract documents, and the cost of the project would not go above that amount.
And then next, just kind of to give you an update as to the funding, Stuart is going to kind of give you an update on that.
All right, thank you to the board for your consideration. Personal thank you to Pearl for your support in this matter, answering all my questions. About a year ago, we kicked off our fundraising for both phases of this project. We raised in about a month $300,000, and of that sum, we spent approximately $220,000 on what you see there and now, which was the backstop and the stadium seating bleacher project. We have $83,000 in the bank. I have commitments from 3 donors for between $150,000 to $175,000 now, and we plan a fundraising party in the beginning of December to raise the necessary amount to reach the 3895 number, which would, it leaves us about $150,000 to raise. And I'm very confident that we can raise half the amount we raised in the first month after that first party. So I ask you to approve the project, and thank you again for your consideration. Don't know if you have any questions for me.
Okay, so the last item is just asking your approval to execute the agreement, and with the guaranteed max sum, and with the approval for the site lease, facility lease, and any other issues relating to construction. So that's my presentation.
Okay, thank you.
But just to clarify, you have to raise the total amount of money before you stick a shovel in the ground to begin any construction, correct?
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The other clarification is, what kind of a timeline are we talking here? With what the action we're taking tonight with the lease back, what's the term?
Well, tonight, immediately we would be able to sign the agreement to fund as far as raising the rest of the money. That agreement has a 120-day deadline for the committee to complete their fundraising and have the money for the project in your account, at which point the site lease and sublease could be signed to begin the project. And as far as the timeline for completing the project, I'm not sure what the from start to finish of the project.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, how long do you think you?
Yeah.
We've allowed 4 months. We're hopeful it'll be closer to 3.
What happens if the funds aren't
They're not
raised in the
raised.
120 days?
Then the district could determine not to proceed with the project, or you could provide additional time.
Can I make a quick comment on that?
Sure.
It's our goal objective to begin construction this year. So my hope is that we
This school year.
Mhm.
Or this
Okay.
Or
calendar,
calendar
calendar or
Can't be
school
the
year?
school
You mean
years.
before January
120 days.
2000?
Before January
Yeah.
2012.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm confident we can do it.
Okay.
Ideally, Mark can, after we present that check to the district, if Mark could begin construction while school is out of session at winter break, it would be a lot better for him, I assume.
So that's your goal, is to...
That is the goal. So basically, 5 weeks from now, to have that money for you.
Well, we have great confidence in your abilities. Because your
Yeah.
school's proven to be,
Be able to do this in a
Yeah.
timely manner.
right.
You're just going to hope for good weather, correct? Rain would delay
Last year, we
your-
didn't have it,
Mm-hmm.
but hopefully this year.
Okay, other questions for the group? No? Okay, then with that, would someone like to move adoption of the resolution?
I'll move.
Second.
Approval.
Okay, there's a second. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Good
Yes.
luck.
Thank you.
Now, are they going to remain for the next one or not?
They can. This
up
is
to
on
you.
the
Naming opportunity?
naming opportunities, so.
So the recommendation is that the board approve the proposed naming opportunities for the Palos Verdes High School Baseball Clubhouse and the Palos Verdes Peninsula High School Pool projects. Pearl, you want to introduce?
Right, so per our board policy 7310, any fundraising campaign must submit its proposed naming opportunities for board approval. The PV High School Sea King Baseball Committee and the PV Peninsula High School Swimming Group have submitted their proposals for their naming rights, and they're there for your approval, so.
Anybody have any questions, discussions? Okay, someone like to move approval, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, that carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
fellas.
Okay, let's move on to item 3, approval of K-12 single plans for student achievement for 2011-12.
Certainly, thank you. Yes, as the single plan for student achievement, we're requesting approval of them for all 16 schools tonight. They constitute a plan of actions to raise academic performance of all students, as well as a plan to spend funds included in the consolidated application. So those categorical funds that remain for schools to spend are the economic impact aid, Title I funds, and funds for ELL students. So we're submitting to you tonight the proposals, the plans for all schools in our district for your approval.
Okay, are there any comments, discussion at this point?
How much money are we actually talking about here, Susan? Because we've swept a lot of
Oh,
those
yes.
categorical funds as tier through.
But Title I and EIA are not, those are federal.
Right, but still, I'm just asking the amount. Would you have, is it, in the federal money, what do we get? 2 million, maybe?
We used to get to 2 million, yes, so I know that's a figure that we had in the past, but I think it's significantly less now. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, so
It's a lot less than it used to be.
Yes.
would someone like to move approval of the plans?
So move.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Okay, that carries. All right, let's move on to item M, Facilities Construction Program. The Facilities Construction Program Construction Status Report, presented as an information item. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. That was just information. Moving on to the consent calendar. Let's see if any board members would like to pull any items. Tony?
Nope.
Barbara?
No.
Malcolm?
Nothing.
Okay, and me either. So would someone move approval of N1 through N15?
So move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, that carries. All right, let's move on to item O, information, sale and/or disposal of surplus property, again presented as an information item. Anybody have any comments, questions? Okay, let's move on to reports of board members. Tony?
Just a couple quick ones. I was invited to speak to the AVID program at Penn High yesterday. Seems like it's been a week ago now. And it was just a privilege. It was a pleasure. I always like the opportunity to get to work with high school youth. So it was nice to be up there and see a great program and meet a great bunch of students. And the second thing, I know we're going to do a lot of things moving forward, so I don't want anybody to feel slighted, but I publicly want to thank Malcolm Sharp for the work that he did on the parcel tax. And while a lot of us get credit and there's a lot of things going on, frankly, Malcolm was really, behind the ball and doing everything he could to make sure this passed, much more than myself. And I know we all care deeply about it, but it really takes somebody to champion that. So while there's many people to thank in the coming weeks, and we will thank them, I want to make sure publicly that we thank Malcolm.
Thank you. Barbara?
And again, I just want to thank the community for coming out and voting and supporting Measure M. And thank you, Dora, for your years on the board.
Malcolm?
I enjoyed my evening last night at the Educator of the Year dinner. Larry was there briefly before he had to catch a plane. Walker's goal was to keep me from face planting the entree, because I was pumping on about something less than 5 hours of sleep after the events of Tuesday night. So, but it's really the 10 stories that we heard from the educators. We had 4, is that? We had 4. We had 4. And others that were, you know, our partners on the Hill with Marymount and Chadwick, and the great thing is that there was a really good vibe in the room, that it was launched when Walker got up and thanked everybody for Measure M passing, and I heard the word renaissance more than once, that you know, there's like a sea change of feeling towards not only what we're doing, but what all these other partners are doing here on the Hill with regard to education. And that was really nice to spend the night after to have that kind of affirmation. And it was not a political affirmation, it was just an affirmation that this is kind of like an industry of the Hill, you know, that we have here. So that was a very nice evening. And even though I have been spending intense time it's been 6 years that we've been doing this parcel tax thing, hasn't it? It seems that way. I was telling Teresa Geringer with Tramathola that it was fatiguing going back and just looking at the calendar and the emails that we've had since July. Just looking at that, it was it was a lot of work. But I'm going to miss that group, because the energy was really, really terrific, especially on Tuesday. Tuesday was just awesome in an exhausting way. And I'm talking about prior to 8 o'clock. I think there were people up at what my wife was calling global headquarters. I think it's 7 in the morning on Tuesday when it opened up, and it was strange. Before I came over here today, my last task was to take the one remaining key over there so the building could be turned back over to Continental Development, who donated the space. Thank you, Continental. And I had visions of the movie The Sting, where, you know, they set up the shop and everything, and I mean, this thing was abuzz, and then you go in there and it's completely empty, as though nothing ever happened. And overlay that with Butch Cassidy, it was like, who were those guys? They're gone. Right. And it still hasn't. I read Walker's email this morning that it took about 24 hours to sink in, but it still hasn't sunk in. I was taking my walk today, and one of our district employees stopped, pulled over, and I said, it hasn't sunk in yet. It really hasn't, what we've done. And then for school services to come out today with a memo of like, who are those guys down there in Palos Verdes that not only passed something that others couldn't even attempt to pass, but the wonderfulness of the whole thing. It was great, and I'm going to miss Dora. That's okay. I Googled on your home phone number. It is all over the internet. So it's everywhere. Yeah, they have it. You're going to be getting so many offers for you know, whatever they sell these days. But anyway, we'll be.
Well, we were talking
That's
baseball
right.
and
baseball and everything else. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And what else is there to say? Nothing. Just it's been a great run, everybody. We are 6-0 with these measures since 2000. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's just a testament to how the community values not just education, children, youth in the future, and how forward-thinking the community is in voting for these things. But really, it's time to pat ourselves on the back. You know, if the board had not had the foresight to even put these things on the ballot, Barbara was on the board before I was, and they took that leap of faith in 1999 to put that first facilities plan together and say, you know, let's try this. And then Ira said to me, can you do this? And then we all did. And it's been a great ride ever since. So congratulations to everybody.
Yeah.
And on that note, I will adjourn this meeting at 8 o'clock.